So welcome to our Graduate Programs in Nutrition webinar for Bastyr University. My name is Dr. Fernanda Brusamolin, and I serve as the chair of the Nutrition Department for our San Diego campus and our Canmore, Washington campus. I also have Jill Marquis here from admissions. If you want to say a quick hello, she's here to answer some questions.
Hi, nice to see you all today. I'm here to answer any admission specific questions that come up throughout the webinar today.
All right, thank you, Jill. And again, we will be making plenty of time for questions and answers at the end of the webinar. So if you could please save your questions or just drop them in the chat, we will try to answer them as efficiently as possible. And we will get started. So to make sure that we are focusing on the right thing, I will disable my video and we will focus on the presentation. Okay, so we will talk, the reason for this webinar today is to give you a good overview of our nutrition programs at Bastyr at the master's level. So we will start by introducing our two campuses. We have our campus that is in Canmore, Washington, and we also have a campus in San Diego, California. And we also have our online campus where we house one of our master's programs. So we'll talk about all of those options. The programs that we offer in the Seattle campus, I will just briefly mention the bachelor's programs, even though we're not going to get into details about those programs today, because this is about our graduate degrees. But we do have two bachelor's programs. They are the Bachelor of Science in Nutrition and Culinary Arts and Bachelor's of Science in Nutrition, Food and Exercise. Our graduate degrees that are hosted in the Seattle campus are the Masters of Science in Nutrition with a didactic program in dietetics, and we are going to talk about what that means in a little bit. And also our dual degree, which is a Masters of Science in Nutrition and the Masters of Arts in Counseling Psychology. So those are two programs blended into one. We also offer a dietetic internship. I'll give you more details on what that is, and a post-bac program in nutrition, which is not exactly a program, but we do have some courses that we can offer to fulfill some of the prerequisites to our master's program. So we'll talk about that coming up as well. And in our San Diego campus, in this coming academic year, we are reviewing our program. So we are restructuring it for a Master's of Science in Nutrition with supervised clinic hours for those that are wanting to pursue a CNS certification. That program is not available yet. It's coming soon, so more details to come. And we have our online campus, which anybody anywhere in the world can participate in our Masters of Science in Integrative Nutrition. This is our newest program, and it's 100% online, 100% asynchronous. Again, we will skip through the bachelor's programs today because we will focus on the master's degree. So we have currently 3 different options for master's degree at Bastyr University. We have the master's in nutrition with the DPD track, the dual track with the counseling in psychology, and the online integrative nutrition. So let's talk about the master's in nutrition with the didactic program in dietetics that happens in the Canmore campus. So this program is a crucial part of your educational career if you are seeking to be a registered dietitian nutritionist. So that the didactic program in dietetics, which we call it the DPD, is a required piece for those seeking to become registered dietitians. So you need that, and this is a program that is accredited by ASCEND, which is the accredited body from the American Nutrition Association. Association of Nutrition and Dietetics. And let's talk a little bit about the career opportunities for those that complete this program and go on to become registered dietitians. So they can work at a vast number of clinical settings, such as private practice, hospitals, eating disorder treatment centers, rehabilitation and addiction centers, and more. So this program really prepares the nutrition professional to be in that clinical route, right? So you will be able to assess and manage care for patients with different types of chronic and acute conditions in a variety of different settings. So if a specific clinic route, and especially like a hospital setting, is what you seek as a career opportunity, this is the program for you. Registered dietitians also act in public health programs and administration. They can work in corporate wellness programs, food and nutrition consulting and writing. So there's many that have private practices and they do a lot of consulting. You could also continue with your academic career in a university or in an administrative or government setting. It also it's a good starting point for research in a clinical laboratory environment if that's what you would like to pursue. So take some time and reflect if there are any specific questions here for this Masters of Science in Nutrition, and you can write them in the chat or save them for later. And I will quickly pass on to our next program that happens in person in our Seattle campus or Canmore campus, which is the dual degree. So this is the Master of Science in Nutrition combined with the Masters of Arts in Counseling Psychology. So this program is a 3-year program. The previous one that I just talked about, I skipped that, is a 2-year program. So this is in a 3-year program, you actually get 2 master's degree. And this program is for those that are interested in the intersection of nutrition and mental health. So if you end up getting licensure as a mental health counselor, so you can definitely work directly in that field, and also infuse your practice with aspects of nutrition counseling. So career opportunities are as a mental health counselor, as I mentioned, lifestyle behavior change counselor, counselor for patients with eating disorders. There's a special focus on eating disorders in our program. You can work as a nutrition consultant, nutrition educator, certified nutrition in selected states, depending on the credentialing of those states. You can work as a school counselor, mental health and substance abuse social worker, rehabilitation counselor, marriage and family counselor, prevention and wellness coach or consultant, and corporate wellness consultant. So you see that this is a you can get much more of those mental health career opportunities, and you can complement that with the nutrition science. Now, important to note that this program will not prepare you to become a registered dietitian because it does not contain the DPD track. It only contains a master's in nutrition. Again, take a moment and see if you have any questions here. Drop them in the chat or write them down so we can address them later. And then our next one that we will be talking about is our online program, which again happens asynchronous online. It's our newer program. So we have 3 cohorts that started already. We have 3 entry points in a year. You can choose to enter in the fall, winter, and spring. And it's a program. Usually we see mostly adult learners that would like to further their education with nutrition or explore a career change. So you can pursue further credentialing as an RDN, CNS, or PhD. And I'm going to clarify, because this degree will not lead you to becoming a registered dietitian. It does not contain the DPD track. What it does is it fulfills the academic requirement for a master's degree. So since this year, in 2023, the Academy decided that candidates to become registered dietitians need to have a master's degree. So if you have already done your DPD program and you need the master's to be eligible for RDN certification, then this is a program that you can take, but it will not take place of the DPD portion. That needs to be completed in person in our Seattle campus. It also fulfills the academic requirement for the CNS certification, which is the Certified Nutrition Specialist. Upon graduation, you would still need to complete your supervised practice hours, which we don't offer at this point, but you would have to contact the CNS organization to make sure that you are matched with a approved supervised practitioner. And if you want to continue your academic career, you obviously can continue into research or a PhD or an EDD. Other career opportunities would be food and nutrition consulting, writing and public speaking, nutrition education for groups and individuals. This is important to note that this is not a clinical program, so you will be the focus is in nutrition education for healthy populations. So you, depending on the state that you are, you will be approved to work with groups and individuals. However, it is not a clinical program, so it doesn't. If you are seeking to disease management and therapeutics, you want to look into the registered dietitian route. You can work at corporate and wellness programs. You can become involved in public health initiatives surrounding nutrition. You can pursue a career in corporate wellness, and you can become a nutrition and health educator. Again, think if you have any questions about this online program, and we can answer those later. And then I'll talk a little bit about our dietetic internship, which is also offered in our Seattle campus. And the dietetic internship is the supervised practice for the registered dietitians. So we every year we have 12 interns that cycle through our internship, and that internship is approved again by Ascend, which is the crediting body for registered dietitians. And it's the last piece of education that you need to then sit to be approved to sit through to the RD exam. So it's a 1-year program, and you go through rotations of clinical practice, food management, and public health. So Bastyr University offers this dietetic internship as an opportunity for those that have already completed their master's degree and the DPD track. So it does prepare the graduates to become entry-level dietitian nutritionists in all types of clinical settings, including hospital and healthcare systems. And then lastly, I did keep this here, even though we don't have a post-bac program per se. We do have some courses that can help you complete those prerequisites that we offer in-house. So we have courses in organic chemistry and biochemistry, and I believe physiology that can be taken during the summer at Bastyr that can fulfill the requirements for your master's. And so, if you are worried about completing prerequisites, we can talk about this and see how we can best direct you in that area. And I think that for the programs, that's all I have. You can always look for more detailed information of each program at our website at bastyr.edu/nutrition. We have curriculum maps. We have the career outcomes that I just presented to you. We have the credit breakdown, example of classes, and then there is a phone to speak to an advisor. And now Jill is here, and she can jump in and see if we have any questions. And you can also email and advise one of our advisors to see if where you are in the track and how much what you would need to be able to jump in one of these exciting degrees. So I'm going to stop my share right now and restart my camera, because this is a good time for us to have some question and answers. I don't know, Jill, if you want to jump in and say anything, or just wait for Q&A, that's fine as well.
I think you pretty well covered it for just kind of an overview of the different programs and everything. The online program has pretty different prerequisites from the two in-person programs that we're offering right now. That the online program only requires a bachelor's degree with the 2.75 GPA or higher, whereas the others have quite a substantial list of prerequisite courses that you would need. So, if you're working towards those, then you might have some preparation work before you'd be ready to get started in those. And I know many of you have already been communicating with, and then also, if I haven't communicated with any of you and you have questions about that, definitely feel free to reach out and we can talk through what you may have already completed with your previous college experience, and then make a plan for any additional courses as well.
Thank you, Jill. I see we have a question here, and the question is, for the MSN DPD program, are there any TA or GA opportunities? Yes, we do have TA opportunities quite often. Every beginning of a quarter, our program coordinator will send out a list of TA needs for each course, and then we match them with your specific interest or knowledge base. Most of the TAs that we take for the department are the ones that are work study eligible. So that's something to think about. If you are work study eligible, we will absolutely consider you as a TA. For the online program, are there physical books that we would buy? Yes. So different courses will have different requirements, but I would say about half of our courses do require textbooks. So yes. Allison, yes, jump right in.
Hi. So I had a question. You mentioned that the MSN MACP isn't ideal for people who want to be credentialed as an RD. Would you be able to do your internship separately? Would that still work as a degree?
No, you can't do an internship unless you have the DPD track, and the dual track does not have the DPD. So
Okay.
there is a possibility in which you can add the DPD, but then you would be looking into 4 years in school, you're not 3 years, because you have to add just a bunch of new courses that will, extend your degree program. So we have had some students that have done that, but you're just going to be looking into a longer, a longer journey. But it could be done. Does that
Okay.
answer?
Yes. That's what, I'm on the cusp of, if I want to be credentialed, I want to work community wise. So I keep going back and forth. So,
Yeah, and that's a big dilemma, right? And it's an interesting one because it really is about focus, but you should also think about what you want to do, right? So for every student that, I don't know if I have maybe even talked to some of you guys, my first question is, what do you see yourself doing, right? And if you tell me, oh, I see myself working at a hospital or working at a specific organization. So in other words, looking for a job, I would say the registered dietitian track is definitely going to open more doors for you in terms of job placement. But if you have more of that entrepreneur mindset, and if you want to do private practice, or work in a group practice, then the other programs might fulfill that.
okay. Thank you.
Sure. Let's see some more questions here in the chat. Does the biochemistry prereq require a lab? Yes. Jill, am I correct? I'm pretty sure.
I think how we have it written right now is that you have to have a lab for either organic chemistry or biochemistry. So biochemistry classes tend to be difficult to find a lab portion with them, especially looking at the community colleges and online options and things. So a lot of our students do end up taking their lab requirement with the organic chemistry course instead. But if you're at a school that has a biochemistry lab and you choose not to take the organic chemistry lab, that would be fine to meet our prerequisite as well.
Thank you. And then the next question is, can we buy the textbooks ahead of time or get a list of them? So once you are enrolled in the program, so you applied, you got admitted, and you were enrolled in the class, then you will receive the textbook list ahead of time to start the program. But we don't usually disclose those, before admissions to a program. Any other questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. We can definitely talk about different career paths, different courses, difference of Bastyr education versus other universities. So I want to guide this conversation to your guys' interest. We have about 5 or 6 minutes. Oh, Kate has a question. All right, Kate, go ahead.
Hi there.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. I was just interested. I'm doing a program right now for my undergrad, and it fulfills like the DPD requirements. Would you recommend still doing the MS DPD program, or just maybe you can find a different one, or just whatever I'd want to do?
Yeah, I mean, if you have already fulfilled the DPD requirements, I wouldn't suggest you reinventing the wheel, right? You've already
Yeah.
done it, and it's time, it's bandwidth, it's money, and you would definitely need to complete a master's, so you could do the online program or you could do the dual track. But we usually don't advise students to do it again because it's just seems like an overkill of your precious time.
Okay, and then I just have one more follow-up question, I guess. So if I were interested in doing the online program, would there be a possibility of like applying to an internship and like overlapping that for a year, or is that not, is it recommended to just,
It will really depend on you,
okay,
right? So yes, the online program was designed for the adult learner. Usually they work full time and or they have a career or they have a family. So you are not going to be required to log in Wednesday at 2 p.m. So you can do work as you at the times that you can. That's not to say that there's not a schedule. So you do have a weekly schedule and you're going to have assignments due usually on Wednesdays and Sundays. So that will be something to consider. Like, are you going to have the bandwidth to do an internship and that at the same time? You can always take a leave of absence from the online program once you get admitted, and if you think it's too much. But yes, you could definitely do both at the same time. That's what the program was designed for.
okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so let's see here. What is the major difference between Bastyr and other universities, specifically with the MSN DPD program? Does the internship program have spots for the MSN graduates from Bastyr? Okay, so main difference between Bastyr's MSN DPD program is that we infuse the program with our whole foods philosophy. So we have our holistic approach, and you're gonna be taking many classes that are kind of above and beyond what you would be exploring in just the DPD track. So you would be taking our whole foods production course and the culinary the therapeutic cooking courses and some of the other ones, I'm trying to think on the top of my head, bioactive compounds courses that are not necessarily going to be found in a regular, I wouldn't say regular, but in a more traditional DPD track. And however, our DPD track itself very much follows the KRDNs, right, which is the competencies for registered dietitian nutritionists. So we are in accordance with our accrediting body, and we follow those competencies. So the best way that I can describe it is you get the best of both worlds. And then Molly has a question: how many applicants do you typically receive for the DPD per year? Jill, do you have an answer for that?
Yeah, I was just trying to look up the numbers so that I would have it to reference for you. It's typically around about 35 applicants for the year. Only about 1/3 of those end up actually starting the program each year. So, and that doesn't mean that they're necessarily denied. A lot of times it's because students decide, no, I need to take more time on my prerequisites. I'm going to hold off for another year. Other times, things just come up. Students can't get financial aid to balance properly. I mean, the cost is certainly a big factor, right? There are lots of things that come up, right? So most of these students, I would say there's probably, maybe I could count on one hand how many would have been denied. And those are the students who haven't come talk to us before, have no idea about any of the prerequisites, and are, way far off in how long they need to take those. So you all are off to a good start, even by just being here and, hearing about some of these initial details, right? And yeah, anyway, but the other takeaway from those numbers as well is that you can expect a pretty small cohort. So actually for the nutrition and MACP program, the dual one, that one's also a pretty small cohort too. So you can probably expect about maybe like 20 students or so. I mean, certainly no more than that in many of your classes. And you're going to have a really great ratio to be able to have a good relationship with the professors too.
Thank you, Jill. So, what I would say to all of you that are contemplating different programs is really start by thinking, what do you want to do professionally with this degree? Right? What you have already done, and what is it that you want to do? Where do you see yourself working? Are you going to be starting your own business, right? And I don't know, doing something creative, like our graduates are very creative, but are you going to be writing books? Are you going to create a new nutrition bar? Maybe those paths don't necessarily require you to go all the way through the registered dietitian track, because it certainly is a very intense program, and it will require more schooling. However, if you see yourself working in a therapeutic setting with acute care and in chronic disease, in hospitals, in clinics, in any sort of a setting where that clinical skill is needed, then the registered dietitian track is probably going to open many more doors for you. So that's where I would start. And Jill and I are always available. We communicating quite often, and she always sends me students to talk to and answer questions. So if there's anything that we have not answered for you today, please make sure that you reach out. I'm gonna put my email on the chat. I don't think mine was in the presentation, so here is my email address. You can email me directly. I do have a calendar link too in my email, so feel free to schedule time with me. And I will stay behind for a little bit longer if anybody else has any questions about programs or Bastyr or profession. Feel free to hang out with us. And if we answer all of your questions, then thank you so much for being with us this afternoon, and we hope to see you soon in the classroom.
Okay, thanks.
I think there was one other question that came up in the chat as well, Allison.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, sorry. Oh, that's right. Okay, so I just saw that. What do you look for when reviewing applications for MSN MACP program? What do you like to see in our essays? What makes certain candidates stand out? I appreciate any advice. So that's a good question. And I feel like it would be a question better answered almost by our Dr. Rosen, who is the chair of the counseling psychology department. And I don't know if you have a chance to meet with him already.
No, but it's on my list to reach out.
Yeah, because I know, and Jill, and I'm not sure how much you can help us here, but that program will require you to have an initial interview and to have more contact with the department chair in the admissions team. And it's not our MSN portion, it will just kind of be attached to the MSAP application. So maybe we can get you in touch with the MSAP advisor, Jill, or if you have anything else to share.
Yeah, absolutely. So a couple notes. So yeah, our advisor who works with the MACP program is named Daniel. I don't know if you've connected with him yet, but he does also help do advising for this dual program too. Fernanda's definitely right. I think I would highly recommend connecting with the counseling psychology faculty because their admissions process is a little bit more arduous than the nutrition admissions process. So, for the nutrition side, we're mostly looking to make sure that you've completed your prerequisites, that you've met the grade requirements. Some of them are above a 2.0, a C, and some are above a 3.0 and a B. But then, beyond the grade requirements, we're not looking for a lot more there as far as the nutrition admissions goes. For the MACP program, they do look to make sure that you have above a B in a general psychology class within the last 7 years, but they also have an interview portion of their process too. And so that's something that you would do once you have applied and your application's been reviewed by the admissions team. First, mostly looking, do you have your bachelor's degree? Have you met that requirement for MACP? Have you met the other classes for nutrition? And or do you have a good plan for any prerequisites that you have outstanding? Then the next step would be you would get an email inviting you to schedule an interview with the counseling psychology faculty. And their interview, you'll find out more about their interview in the email that comes to set it up. And you'll also get a follow-up email with some questions to be able to prepare for and some resources to review and things like that. But the way that they structure their interview is they like to do it in a group. And so then there can be some conversations. They're pretty long. They're often about 3 hours long, but you're going to be in a group with like 8 students total. So it's not all going to be centered on you that entire time or even most of that time. So yeah, that's a little bit about their process. As far as the essays go, mostly my recommendation is normally just share a little bit about yourself, your interest in where you want to go next, and why this program for you. But to be honest, I wouldn't stress too much about the essay component. They don't weigh too heavily on your review, more so on making sure that you're doing well in your classes, and then that interview component as well.
Cool.
I know that was a really long-winded answer. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. Any clarity is good. I will definitely reach out. And is it Dr. Rosler? Is that the same person?
Dr. Rosen.
Rosen,
Yep.
Rosen.
Yeah.
Okay. I've looked into him. I haven't.
Yes. And he's our chair for the MACP program up in Kenmore. Yes. So he would, as you're doing the dual one, he would be the best person to talk to there about the counseling component.
Cool. Thank you so much.
Yeah. And then the only thing I can add from the nutrition side, and this would apply more for the MSN DPD students, but it's always something that we'd like to see, is a student that understands what the nutrition field is, right? Because as much as we want you guys to join us, we want to make sure that you're joining the right program. So, if a student has never had any experience whatsoever in the field, then there's a likelihood that you might not know what you're walking into. So we'd like to see that you volunteer at a soup kitchen or at a school lunch program, or at a hospital at the food department. So things that will make us understand, okay, she knows what the profession intakes, and she's willing to do it. So that's one little piece that we love to see.
Okay, that's what I got confused. I do have my undergrad as a DPD,
Okay, well then,
degree, and then I currently work in a children's psychiatric hospital in the nutrition department. So it's very much what I want to do is this.
absolutely. Yeah, so sounds like you have your sounds like you would definitely check that box. And maybe another conversation that you might want to have with Dan, and we can have this conversation separately as well, is like, would you want to do the dual track, or would you just want to do the MSAP program? Because if you already have the DPD track, right, if you're looking into becoming a registered dietitian, you need a master's degree, but it doesn't necessarily need to be in nutrition. It can be any master's degree. So, I'm not trying to sell you out of the program,
No,
but just things
no,
to consider.
I would love to talk to you about that because that was something I keep going back and forth on, is if I didn't know if it would set me back to not get a master's related to nutrition when taking the exam, or what have you, like if that would put me at a disadvantage,
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
Yeah, my understanding, and I always say my understanding because I didn't make the rules, right?
Yes.
So it's always a good idea to check what they send. But my understanding is it can be any master's degree. It does not need to be
Okay. Okay, got it. Cool. Then thank you for the advice.
Of course. And I do think I missed a piece of a question that says, does internship program have spots for the graduates from Bastyr? So the answer is yes. We have we have 6 spots in our dietetic internship where we can do the early matching. So if our students in the MSN DPD program, you have to have completed the DPD. If you want to do that early matching with Bastyr, then what happens is you bypass the big, and I'm not using the correct terminology here, but the big matching of all of the other schools and all of the other students, so you can be placed at Bastyr ahead of that. So that means you chose Bastyr already before trying to match with any other school. So yes, we do have that. Okay. Oh, sure. You're very welcome. Is there anything else that we could answer for you today?
I guess I had one more question, if you don't
Sure.
mind.
No, no.
Um, well, I guess I was kind of interested in the program, the Masters of Science in Nutrition for like wellness and health coaching, and then I noticed that there's no more like applications this year. I was just kind of interested if that was going to be continued like in the coming years, or what that would look like.
Yeah, that program is right now under revision.
Hmm.
It's under revision. We want to make sure that we are appealing to what the students need, from a career perspective. So we took a pause this year to gather feedback and to see some other options and see how is this program going to be reborn. We're not 100% sure, but it looks like we're going to offer a master's with some supervised practice hours instead of with the health coaching. But
Okay.
again, this is just very, very preliminary stages.
Yeah. And then I just had one more quick question. For the pre-select you were talking about, would that only be for students completing their master's at Bastyr with the DPD program, or is it for anyone?
My understanding is that it's for the MSN DPD students from Bastyr. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome. Okay, so if there are no other questions, I would like to extend a huge thank you to all of you for spending this time with us. Thank you, Jill, for being here, supporting us, and answering some important questions. And again, you have our direct emails in the chat, and feel free to reach out with any questions that we were not able to answer, or any questions that might come up that you didn't think about at this time. Thank you, everybody. It was nice being with you.
Thank you.
Alyssa, do you have any other questions?
No, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.